Thank you for joining me here today, and what a beautiful day, and welcome. And Dr. Marshall, I come in Christian love to you and all your viewers. And I was called over 20 years ago to consecrate the Eucharist in the Catholic Church. And I became a theologian to try and understand why it was that God was calling me to consecrate the Eucharist, and the Catholic teachings were prohibiting it. Here today to have a look, Dr. Marshall, at the statistics and polls that were recently taken on women in the church, because they are reflecting what women in the church desire today. And one of them is ordination of Catholic women. So let's have a look at these surveys. So we can see here America Magazine survey of women in the church, Word on Fire. And one of the results within it showed that only 18% of women believe they are involved in any decision making in the church. Because women are evangelizing within the church, within different roles, but ultimately they must always come back to the decisions of the priest and the bishop, even though they are the ones that are doing all the service in relation to this area, and they would like to have more say in the way that the decisions are made within that particular arena of what they are working on. So I can understand that. Now we have another survey here, the newly published International Survey of Catholic Women. Now this survey was initiated by an international organisation, Catholic Women Speak, where they received over 17,000 responses from women over 104 countries. Now, this was in response to Pope Francis's invitation for submission to the 2021-2023 Synod of Bishops. Now, this is what they found within this survey. Greater access for women to meaningful pastoral and organisational leadership, including the ordination of women. Now, from that survey, one woman wrote from the UK, "I cling on to the church by my fingernails because of the Eucharist and in spite of many of its clergy." But moving on now, let us look at the 2024 poll from the National Catholic Reporter. Catholic support for women's ordination rises in Latin America. In major Latin American countries, Catholic support for ordaining women as priests has risen significantly in the last decade, with 65% of Peruvian Catholics supporting the ordination of women priests. And another one, Pew survey in US and Latin America recently. This is a survey of over 5,600 Catholics in the United States, Mexico, Argentina, Brazil, Chile, Colombia, and Peru. Support for the ordination of women to the priesthood ranged from a high of 83% in Brazil to a low of 47% in Mexico. Dr. Marshall, it is clear here in these recent surveys that not only women but men also are voting in favour of ordination of Catholic women. Dr. Marshall, Mary has helped me understand that today women have to believe in themselves. They have to believe that they too can lead, that they too have the courage and faith, and believe that our leadership and decision making will help build up the church, that we too can lead, not higher than, not a little bit lower than, but beside the men, proudly standing strongly. We no longer want to be participating so heavily in the Catholic Church, in our evangelization and other areas, and not to feel that we cannot be involved in leading and in decision making. God is calling women today to lead, to produce such surveys, to build up the church, to make it a better church. I will never give up. I will do as God has asked me, for I know that the Holy Spirit is working hard, and the surveys, the polls show it. Thank you for listening, and I hope you have a wonderful day.